Normandy, France, June 6, 1944. All along the beach, thousands of Allied soldiers are fighting for every inch of land they can get. Across the red-stained sands of Omaha Beach, scattered and disoriented, the men of L Company, integral to the United States Army's historic Big Red 1 1st Division, find themselves at an unexpected stand. Surrounded by machine-gun-armed Germans, hiding in the dense hedgerows of the Normandy countryside, fragmented voices cut through the chaos, their broken English carrying a bone-chilling command to surrender. Amidst the invisible threat of their hidden enemies, Lieutenant Jimmie Monteith refuses to seek cover. Instead, he steps into the fire, directly walking towards the source of the voices, the heft of a grenade reassuring in his grip. As Supreme Commander of the Allied Expeditionary Force in Europe, during the planning of Operation Overlord, General Dwight D. Eisenhower immediately ensured the 1st Infantry Division, the storied Big Red 1, was at the heart of the Normandy invasion. The 1st Infantry Division owed its nickname to the distinctive shoulder patch worn by its members, an insignia showcasing a bold red numeral 1 set against a khaki background, representing its status as the inaugural permanent division of the regular U.S. Army, organized in 1917 during World War I. According to historian John McManus, both Ike and the American High Command overall believed the brave men of Big Red 1 to be, quote, tempestuous perhaps, but talented and dedicated. For 7 months in southwest England, the men of the Big Red 1 rigorously prepared for the assault on Omaha Beach, sharpening their combat skills, both individually and as units, intensifying their training pace and readiness for the amphibious operation. One such brave man was 26-year-old Lieutenant Jimmie W. Monteith, a Virginia native who, within the 1st Division, was a platoon leader in L Company, 3rd Battalion, 16th Infantry Regiment. By 1944, Monteith took part in the Sicily invasion and the ensuing battles with the Hermann Göring Panzer Division. His courageous acts, leadership skills, and tactical acumen during these engagements led to his battlefield promotion to 1st Lieutenant. During the intense training for D-Day, he expressed a deep sense of pride and confidence in a letter to his family. He praised the readiness of his unit and his own leadership abilities. He wrote, quote, "I would not change it if I were given the chance. As for the 1st Division, every time I look at the shoulder insignia, I get a thrill. There's no better fighting unit in the world. There's a great feel of satisfaction one gets within oneself." After strenuous training, by early June, Monteith and all the Allied forces were ready to storm Normandy's beaches in the largest amphibious invasion in history and launch a decisive assault against Nazi tyranny. Shaped like a crescent and hemmed in by cliffs on both ends, Omaha Beach had 5 narrow and rudimentary paths leading from the sandy beach to the villages beyond Cabourg, Courville-sur-Mer, Saint-Laurent-sur-Mer, and Vierville-sur-Mer. The Allies' mission to break Hitler's hold on Europe hinged on securing these routes. Because of this, the Germans turned the beach into a fortress, aiming to halt them at the water's edge. Charged with spearheading this assault were 2 determined units, the 29th Infantry Division's 116th Regiment in the west and the Big Red 1's 16th Regiment in the east, ready to face hell on earth. At the heart of the eastern assault was the 16th Infantry's 3rd Battalion, including Companies I, K, and M. Leading L Company in this operation was Jimmie Monteith. They were assigned a critical mission, a sector in Omaha Beach, codenamed Fox Green, directly linked to the Colville Draw. Their objective was ambitious yet clear: breach the defenses at Fox Green, advance to open the draw, and push to link up with British forces further inland. The companies from the Big Red 1 boarded ships near Dorchester, Dorset, England, and sailed on the evening of June 5th, ready to invade France in the most powerful amphibious invasion in history the following day. As dawn broke, I and L companies hit the beach first, aiming to lead the charge, with K and M right on their heels. But nature had other plans, and chaos started as soon as they approached the coast. According to historical records of the 16th Infantry, quote, "Heavy seas, numerous underwater obstacles, and intense enemy fire destroyed many craft and caused high casualties even before the assault battalions reached shore. Most supporting weapons, including DD tanks, were swamped." With the disarray of war throwing the Omaha Beach assault force inexorably eastward, the 3rd Battalion's carefully planned arrival became anything but orderly. Disoriented, I Company veered off course, while K and M Company's backup plan stumbled. Monteith's L Company was the only one to land as a cohesive unit, albeit 30 minutes late and 1,000 yards east of its designated landing spot, reaching the isolated Fox Red instead. dangerously close to the Coburg draw. As the least useful of the 5 exits from Omaha Beach, Coburg was not contemplated in the planning of Overlord. The draw was nevertheless a fortress, bristling with barbed wire and minefields, and protected under the watchful guns of Widerstand Nest 60, the WN-60 resistance nest. Perched 130 feet above the beach, the WN-60 stronghold was equipped with a lethal assortment of defenses: concrete bunkers, mortars, machine guns, and even a 75mm anti-tank gun, all connected by a network of trenches extending inland. 40 German soldiers commanded this bastion, their gaze fixed on any movement along Omaha's red-tinted sands. Despite the looming threat and almost insurmountable odds, platoon leader Monteith's resolve did not waver. When L Company hit Omaha Beach, the air was thick with the smell and sound of machine guns, shells, and rifle fire. Quickly, the soldiers made their way through the German obstacle belt and crossed 200 yards of rocky roads right into a cliff on the edge of the beach that offered temporary shelter. Out of the 200-man company, only 125 made it. Thankfully, elements from the 29th Infantry Division also landed nearby and joined them for the fight. Though the base of the cliffs, right beneath WN-60, provided temporary safety for the recently landed L Company, the rising tide, the German mortar fires, and their mission plans called for an urgent move. Defying the instinct to seek cover and hide from the enemy's gaze, the leaders of L Company, including Monteith, boldly decided to charge up the draw. Despite the vigilant oversight from the German forces stationed above, the landscape's irregular terrain and the dense hedgerows provided a semblance of concealment, giving them the perfect opportunity to move. Leading the charge with determination etched into his every step, Lieutenant Jimmie Monteith positioned himself at the forefront of L Company and rallied his men at the face of their first daunting obstacle, the labyrinth of heavy barbed wire. Choosing their point of breach with precision, he orchestrated the deployment of a Bangalore torpedo. With a thunderous roar, the torpedo erupted, tearing through the entanglements and carving a pathway. With this, Monteith then carefully led his men through the minefields as L Company made their way towards their objective. Soon, the band of warriors found themselves embroiled in a clash against German defenders. The relentless rattle of machine guns and the ominous boom of enemy pillboxes forced the Americans to seek fleeting refuge. Once Monteith ensured his men were safe, he studied the situation for a minute, and still in the face of heavy fire, ran back to the beach, where he remembered 2 Sherman tanks were from A Company 741st Tank Battalion. Sealed tightly to shield against the intense machine gun fire, the tanks were left with severely limited visibility, effectively navigating without sight. Undeterred, Monteith hammered on the tank's armored sides, signaling the crew with urgent commands, instructing those inside to follow him right through the thick of the fire and into action. Leading from the front, Monteith navigated the duo of Shermans through the mine-strewn landscape. Under his direction, they unleashed their firepower, obliterating the German machine guns and pillboxes that hindered their progress, clearing the path for the advance. After neutralizing the immediate threats, Monteith swiftly established a defensive position. This tactical move ensured they could withstand any counterattacks, holding the ground until additional forces arrived from the beach to join the advance. Reinforcements arrived on the right flank of Lieutenant Monteith's position as additional L Company boat sections began their push up the draw. Their advance, marked by quick and fierce engagements with the enemy, capitalized on the initial path carved out by Monteith and his men. Soon after, Captain Kimball Richmond, with troops from I and K Company, advanced and efficiently overcame German defenses. Their progress, supported by USS Doyle and mortars from the beach, allowed them to join forces with L Company. As midday began on Omaha Beach, a sudden flurry of German counterattacks targeted Monteith's position. The enemy, abandoning traditional fixed defenses, opted for a guerrilla warfare tactic, weaving through the hedgerows to launch their assaults and set up machine gun nests at strategic points. Finding themselves encircled, nearby German voices demanding surrender tightened around the Americans, but Monteith didn't falter. Ignoring the calls, he moved with purpose, holding a rifle grenade. Advancing toward the challenge, guided by the enemy's voice and the source of the fire, he threw his first grenade, but missed. The Germans, seizing the moment, intensified their fire. Unshaken, Monteith recalibrated and released another grenade, and this follow-up shot landed true, silencing the machine gun threat. But the fight wasn't over just yet. Following a brief pause, additional machine gun fire hammered the American position. Even with a larger force, the Germans still couldn't break through, so they set up 2 machine guns and started spraying all over the hedgerow with bullets. Time was of the essence. Lieutenant Monteith swiftly organized a squad of riflemen to target a machine gun pinning them from the right flank. Covered by their fire, he stealthily approached the enemy position. With quick movements, he lobbed grenades, neutralizing the threat. Having secured one flank, Monteith didn't pause. Instead, he dashed across an exposed 200-yard field, braving enemy fire, to tackle another machine gun nest. His rifle grenades flew, decisively ending the standoff. Either the crew was downed, or they fled their post. But the battle's tide turned again, with renewed enemy fire from the east. Monteith, ever the protector, didn't hesitate. He moved toward the danger, intent on supporting his men. This time, however, fate intervened. A precise burst from a light machine gun halted his advance, marking the valiant end of his fight. Monteith's legacy endured beyond his final breath. His boat section and L Company continued to repel German counterattacks that day, diminishing the enemy's presence and ensuring the safety of Omaha Beach's eastern flank. By the close of D-Day, the easternmost flank of Omaha Beach had been secured. 2 months after the Allied landings in Normandy, the Big Red One's 16th Infantry was honored with a citation for their extraordinary heroism and outstanding performance, a recognition bestowed upon them by Eisenhower himself. Ike even went as far as calling the 16th Infantry his Praetorian Guard, explicitly telling the 16th soldiers, quote, "I would not have started the invasion without you." Lieutenant Jimmie Monteith's life, only a month shy of his 27th birthday, was cut too short. But his legacy was just beginning. In November 1944, Eisenhower's Chief of Staff attached a note to Monteith's file, indicating that the commanders of 5th Corps, 1st Army, and 12th Army Group had all recommended him for a posthumous Distinguished Service Cross. However, receiving it for a final decision, the Allied Supreme Commander quickly responded, quote, "You're mistaken. I must say the thing looks like a Medal of Honor for me. This man was good." On March 19, 1945, at a ceremony in Richmond, Virginia, Mrs. Monteith received her son's Medal of Honor from Brigadier General Rupert E. Starr. His citation ended, quote, "The courage, gallantry, and intrepid leadership displayed by First Lieutenant Monteith is worthy of emulation." In one of his many letters, Jimmie Monteith once wrote that, quote, "People forget the soldiers who fight their battles for them in a matter of hours." The story of Lieutenant Jimmie Monteith and his incredible feats on D-Day, where he single-handedly turned defeat into victory on the bullet-riddled Omaha, will never be forgotten.